Capricorn. I'm gonna situate this actually. Hi. Okay, so this chart, you can freeze frame and see the transit date is January 9th, 2021. This transit I found in an ephemeris. I saw that all the personal planets were going to be at the same degree. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. What's that look like? Mars and Venus are making a trine. And then the other personal planets are not like involved. There's not like a grand trine, which I've actually seen that before. And that's amazing. It's generally an activation, which is why I'm saying this is. But I had to look a little deeper. So what I did is I went to an ephemeris online that shows asteroids and outer body planets and other things like that. And I plotted the date and the time that the moon would move in and hit 1 degree. And boy, oh boy, what did I find when I plotted the asteroids? So as many of you know, there's lots of things in our sky. And a lot of them are asteroids. And the asteroids have been named. Many of them have names named after the person that discovered them. But many of them are named after Greek myths. Especially the first couple ones that were really being tracked and named. Greek and Roman myths, and even other esoteric mythologies that are even more ancient, gods and goddesses. So Capricorn, one of the stories that came up, I'm going to actually type this out. I've actually recorded, I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook, but I've actually posted this a minute ago. I recorded this whole thing for you guys, and then my computer was like, nope, and it crashed. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, so it was doing it while I was recording yours. So, and I'm getting these like waves right now of energy. So I'm just going to take a minute. You can do it with me, Cap. There's a huge activation happening, and Venus is a part of it. She's a major player, maybe the most important, and she's in your sign. She's in your sign after you've been through one of the most wicked times of your life, of any lifetime. Capricorn, nobody has seen the shit like you. Like, we've all seen the shit now, but like, you have been seeing the shit. You've been feeling it for like 3 years, no doubt. Maybe even longer. When Saturn rolls through your sign, which it's just left, when Saturn rolls through your sign, it creates an echo effect. Like the year before it gets there, you start to feel it. The year it's there, it's unavoidable. And then the year after, you're still recovering. Like, it takes a while going through your 12th house of subconscious into your identity, and then through your value system and out of your 3rd house. And now it's in your 3rd house. So the shit that you have been going through, Capricorn, it's a new day, man. You're putting the pieces together in a new way. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hearing right now is you got a new format. It's not an upgrade on an old system. It's not patchwork. This is an entirely new format. And you're here to apply it. So, beside Venus is an asteroid. Ixion is a myth in Greek mythology. Wicked king in an attempted seduction of Hera, the goddess of domesticated love and relationships. He was tricked by her husband Zeus, the king of all gods, into making love to a cloud instead of his wife. Because like, he knew what he was doing when he was trying to trap his own wife. And from which was born Centaurus, which is the founder of the race of centaurs. This is where centaurs come from, okay? Amazing. So, there's more to this story. That's not even the most famous part. This character, by the way, is aligned with Venus in your first house. This will be a personified story for you during this transit. Okay, Cap? So, his eternal punishment for the audacity and complete disrespect of both humanity and the gods was to be tied to a ever-spinning wheel of fire in hell, in Hades. Yeah, the dude spun to the wheel. That's originally a torture. And that torture is that old. And that torture is very much what you are personifying now. So what does that mean? You're like, what the freak does that mean? Well, Cupid's there too. Okay? So there are going to be situations in relationships where if you're not accountable and you're dishonest with your gods and your truth of abundance, if you lie to yourself about that, you're going to reap some painful rewards. You should know better by now. And Cupid's around you, so no doubt, like, and when I say Cupid, I mean the asteroid Cupid is with Venus and this other Zion asteroid. They're all together in this grand trine. And this Zion character, this arrogance of, thinking that he's good enough to lie to the gods like they don't know, is making a complete conjunction with Cupid and Venus. And Cupid and Venus are related because they're mother and child. Okay, Eros or Venus, it's the same thing. Cupid is another asteroid body, and Venus is Venus. Okay, so having them tied together with this manipulative, karmatic, painful wheel that is constant. Like, you lie to yourself, you are in constant pain. That's the answer. That is, if you lie to yourself about what you love and what your worth is, then you will be in constant torture. That's the story. So with Venus here, this part of you, because everybody has that in them, that part that lies to themselves, this part of you is being blessed. And Cupid is there creating connection. That's a double whammy of connection. There's a magnetism to you right now. And people are gonna bullshit you. And you're gonna see it. Because if you look at the still shot on this video, the what do I call it? Whatever it's called, the cover of the video on YouTube, it's the chart. You can look at it and you'll see that Venus makes a trine into your fifth house of creativity and children. This is where you have stability. This is where you find your passions, is through your creative energies. And that's going to get triggered right now because Mars is moving into there. And when Mars moves into that place, you are set with your intention of what you want and what feels good. And you have a very high taste. You have very high taste, Capricorn. Like, Venus being in your fifth house is high class, high taste. But when we add that the karma asteroid, which I had to do digging to find, but I found it, which is sitting at 1 degree Virgo, makes a complete trine from your fifth to your ninth to your first. There's an expansion for you, a massive expansion for you in the way that you adrenalize your creative outlets, and you have a karmatic response to the universe through that. And you're going to find it in that, the way that you organize everything for everybody, and that's kind of like your skill, is that you're really good and diligent at that there's going to be a karmatic favor for that. So however you handle these lies to yourself that you're going to find other people projecting onto you, that you find yourself facing, all of those romantic ideals that you've set for yourself in your past, they're getting triggered. The moon is coming through your 12th house for this. So this is a subconscious thing. You are definitely tapping into subconscious waters. But Venus is in your first, so you do have rose-colored glasses on. I feel the need to say that, like, really specifically. Let's see here. Okay, so the Saturn Jupiter thing, I'll touch on that for a minute. So Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, and Lilith and Mercury are all coming into your second house. So you are having this that shit you went through for the last like 3 years. You're now being able to apply that into your value structure. So your boundaries are now going up. Like they're going up like it's renovation season. And if they're not going up, they're going to start crashing down on you because the way you act is now different. So if your boundaries don't fit, you're going to find people are offending you in a way that they never used to, and things are pissing you off that never used to piss you off, and you're finding you have no interest in these things anymore because the boundary is naturally forming without, too much anxiety or stress. However, it's easier to just walk into this consciously. My monkeys are roughing around upstairs, so I pardon if there's any interruption. Saturn, your ruler, is now moved out of your first house, which is, when Saturn came through Capricorn, we all felt it. Like the last 3 years, the eclipses were insane. Like Christmas, the last 3 years, like I've been watching, hun. It's been crazy. And same with like peak Cancer season, right? Like right at the eclipses in summer. They've been insane for you, but that time is over now. And now because those boundaries are going up, which you're very comfortable. You've always been very comfortable putting boundaries up with people. You're finding that there is definitely a new reason to divide. Ooh. There's a new reason to divide what you consider your values and your purpose and your constitutional truths that are yours, and you feel in your heart, and you feel like, what is, what you are and what you do feel solid about. That's your second house stuff. So that stuff's going to be really tested for the next year. And as Mercury's here in this activation day, especially, you're going to feel it. It's like a slingshot effect from your 8th house. And there will be some big cuts. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Okay, so every time I do a chart, I do these charts, I do all 12. And when I get to the 7th, I'm repeating, but reversed, because it's a circle, right? So there's 12 signs, there's 6, and then reverse 6. So technically I've done this reading, but in the reversed for Leo, because they're your opposite sign. And that reminds me that I spoke on this in the Leo video. Feel free to go back there. But Vulcan is here with Atropos. Vulcan's a huge like outer body thing, like a subplanet thing. And then Atropos, Vulcan means like the fire god, like the most intense fire energy, like the actual essence of fire. And then Atropos is like of the 3 fates that weave life. She's the one that cuts the cord. She's the one that says, no, that's the end of your life. You're going to be doing that in your partnering section. And just like Leo is going to be, it's like Cancer is going to be flipping everything for everybody and then walking into that like autonomy thing. You're going to be definitely experiencing that from the opposite perspective, because the anti-vertex, which is where everything is still and everything stays calm and settles things, is actually sitting in your house with the sun, right? So like things are rising and setting on your say-so. That's the best way I can explain that, with the vertex and the anti-vertex and the sun in your and Venus here. But there are going to be people who you have to cut off, because if you don't, you're going to be facing some painful losses because the drama, because Vulcan and Atropos, those 2 I just spoke on, they're in Leo, which is like your 8th house in a whole sign. It's your 8th sign. When those 2 have an explosion in an 8th house perspective, you're looking at like, literally, I'm seeing like burn the house down and call the insurance company. Like that kind of like give up on everything, new plan. I know. It's intense. I don't like reading this stuff either. But Capricorn, I'm here to give you the truth. Let's see here. I will say that faith will get you everywhere. You know, you need to connect to God. That has to be your first truth. Because as long as you have faith in your connection to, you know, the bigger reason, which you do know. You have the responsibility in your heart to know that. Capricorn, you were born with it. You've been through the shit. So now, I mean, it's going to be frustrating because having Jupiter go through your second house is kind of like normally you're like, yeah, money. And now it's coming there with Saturn. You're like, what the fuck? But it'll pass Saturn. And by the time we get like halfway through February, you're going to start to feel Jupiter actually like give you some bank. But it has to be with these boundaries that you've put in, these new boundaries that are being arisen. They have to be honored in order for Jupiter to work. So it's going to be a while before those break up. But it will be, you know, letting those big losses go, letting that big drama leave. You know, you don't like Leo people for a reason. And you're going to see so many Leo people like freak out through the next 2 years. Like, oh my God. But Capricorn, I mean, you saw it. You saw everybody losing their shit around you over the last 3 years. But these people aren't your people. You know what I mean? Like, these are fixed people and you're Capricorn. So, you're not fixed. You're cardinal. You're here to, you know, start things and set the trend. I will say that, you know, your home life, the pain that you've gone through with your home life, and the pain you've gone through with your home life, and then all that shit, you know, reaping down to your identity, it is breaking up now. You know, the connection to the stuff you feel at home and the way you feel about yourself, that is it's going to start to separate. You're going to be able to divide those things more because Saturn will start to separate from the connection to Chiron that it currently has eventually. But for now, it's supposed to transform how you personify from who you've been and where you grew up. It's supposed to transform that, like that root of pain, that guilt that you have that makes you strive so hard. You know, like, you're not the only one. I think you get that. I'll stop harping on you now. But I do love you, Capricorn, and I'm thankful for all your support. And see you around the way. Good luck.